everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Walk. My name's Gareth. I'm joined once again by my mate Phil.
Hiya.
And we are in the Derbyshire village of Pinxton, right on the Derbyshire-Nottinghamshire border. Now we're here to find some remains of the area's industrial past. We're going to look at a bit of a canal, we're going to look at a bit of a tramway, a bit of the Midland Railway, which served the Langton Colliery and the Kirkby Bentinck Colliery, and also the Portland Collieries, and with a bit of luck, we might even find a bit of the Great Northern Railway and a little bit of the Great Central as well. So a bit of a free-for-all, Phil.
A lot to pack in.
Lots to pack in. Okay, so here's Google Maps. This is where we're going to start. This beautiful little fishing pond was actually Pinxton Wharf on the Cromford Canal, which of course was served by all these collieries. What we're going to do is we're going to follow the old line all the way up. We're going to jump on and off an old tramway before getting onto the old Midland line and following that up to the old colliery site of Langton Colliery itself. So here we go. As we say, a bit of a free-for-all this one. You would not think it, would you, Phil? Because that is just your regular fishing pond. You know, come and feed the ducks with the kids. But this was the Cromford Canal, which is of course massively significant.
It did, and it came to the attention of the people who wanted to put the mines in further up when they realised that they could run a wagon way. The old-fashioned, well, not old-fashioned, the original Pinxton and Mansfield Railway came down here on a tramway into this wharf, and it opened up quite a worldwide market, I guess, for coal coming down here.
Because the Cromford Canal came along in the late 1700s, so we are, you know, unbelievably old. Now the railway age, of course, the Midland Railway in the 1840s and stuff like that, exploded across the country. But actually that railway, that wagon way that Phil's just described there, that Pinxton and Mansfield line, is one of the original railways ever built. Now this is an active railway, it's a freight line, so you don't see trains very often. Is this called the Maid Marian line, or have I just made that up?
Well, it's not. I don't think it's any line, because you don't serve passengers. You're going to muddle up with Robin Hood.
No, I'm sure they wanted to reopen this as the Maid Marian line, because it goes on to the Robin Hood line. Or maybe I've just got Robin Hood folklore in my head.
Maybe the last government, when it was nearly voting time, decided to you know, promote that there might be opening stations on this line again and put it as the Maid Marian line, and of course it didn't happen, did it?
Yeah, are we suggesting that the governments try and fool their voters, Phil?
Well, fancied votes, didn't they? So,
yeah, there you go, yeah.
Last word of it.
No comment. Right, so the colliery branch actually came off here, didn't it, originally?
Yeah, there were two level crossings here in olden days, so it must have been, well, by today's standard, you'd probably been waiting here forever if it was a busy road, but obviously it never has been. But yeah, this is the site of the second one.
So this is a second level crossing here, ladies and gentlemen. It comes off, and we're going up to Langton Colliery.
Yeah, sort of via that path, which is roughly on the track bed, is a little bit.
Now in this area, the Kirkby Bentinck Colliery is the most famous one, mainly because most people don't know how to pronounce it, including me normally. And me and Phil did a big walk there, one of our earliest walks actually, Phil, so I'll put a link to that. Oh, dog enjoyed it. I'll put a link to that in the description. But what people don't realise, that this line didn't just serve the Kirkby Bentinck Colliery, but it actually served the Langton Colliery, and originally that's all it served. So we're going to follow this track bed, which would have been put down in and around 1842 when that colliery was opened. Eventually that colliery closed in 1967. So just through there, that's the Maid Marian line, if I haven't just made that up. And so this is another level crossing then, Phil?
Yeah, it would have been. I don't know if this lane petered out into a path, so I guess it's a foot crossing, because there is another foot crossing on Midland just there. Look.
Oh yeah, there you go. Now that building's caught my eye, because that's old.
Like a barn mate thing.
Yeah, and so if we carry on stomping up here then, hopefully we'll find some clues of when this was once a railway. Was this originally a tramway, Phil?
Well, when you say tramway, you know, what is a tramway?
Yeah, good question, yeah.
Good question, now we're talking now. I'm pretty certain it was standing gauge. It came off the Midland line, so
yeah.
It couldn't have suddenly shrunk, could it, when it just got to here?
Fair point.
But tramway is a label for freight, stroke mineral short spur. Normally they'd label it as a tramway, wouldn't they?
Yeah, because when you look on the old maps here, it shows up as tramway, yeah, but it's a good question. That basically, I think, then just means there's no passengers, to be honest. This is doing its best to impersonate a canal. at the minute, but we are on the track bed. Now that looks like a platform there on the left, doesn't it? Of like a coal drop or something.
You'd love it if it was, but come on, it could be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah, let's say it was a coal drop. Okay. It looks like a platform though, doesn't it? Yeah. But it's probably a platform for, you know, for road trucks maybe, but who knows? Because this whole area was like huge for industry. And if you look at these old maps going back into the early 1900s, sort of like 1914, those kind of maps, you look at Pinxton, you look at the amount of railways, you struggle to work out, do you know what I mean, exactly what is what, and that's why I've got Phil. Right, what's going off here then, Phil?
Right, so the original Langton Spear that we just spoke about, for whatever, some time or other, was abolished, and instead of accessing Langton along that section we've walked, they ran a loop behind the Pinxton GN station, which was the North Victoria Pinxton line, which came over Allsworth viaduct fame, you know, the 40 arches down at Gilbrook, which is now the 610 blah blah blah. They ran a loop behind the Pinxton station, and it came over a bridge over the Midland line, and it ran along here, and it basically, you didn't need this bit
Didn't need
anymore,
that bit, yeah.
So it came over here. Now it's ever so hard to tell here, but there's a brook under here, or would it be the, I don't know what it's called.
Just there, a little
yeah,
brook.
just down here, and actually this was like a wide, I'd say a viaduct actually, because I think it's 3 arches, but we just cannot see it from here at the moment. If you look at pictures from above, you can see a wide section and the river going under it. So originally it would have 2 or 3 lines probably fanning out, that's probably why it was so wide. But we might be able to get a shot of it later on, but there is actually a mini viaduct there, and it just, no sight of it just at the moment, so we'll see if we can see.
Let's try and find it. Yeah. Yes, mate. That could be a viaduct, which I've never seen before, so that would be amazing if it is. We're on it, Phil. You can't even tell, but we are actually stood on the bridge. That stone, you can't get to it, but can you see that, ladies and gentlemen? There it is. Oh, what a sickener. If I could get over there, I could get a decent view, but I can't. What a nightmare. But there you go, folks. There's the bridge. We sort of got it.
We sort of got it, but I think this area here, I'm not 100% sure, but when it came over that track, obviously, I think it was a bit high. There was quite an embankment built on top of here, you know what I mean, for it to come over, because obviously it would have come over the middle and then a level from...
Yeah, so it's gone off here, posh.
Over on the bridge, so this was probably an embankment. It's all been, you know, put down, but that's why it would have looked like a viaduct back then, because you'd have been quite high up on the railway.
Yeah.
Whereas we're rock
we're
bottom
dropped,
here.
yeah. Hopefully you got enough of a view there, folks. I know it wasn't great, but I can't get any closer to it. I haven't brought my waders, but there's our first piece of evidence then of the industrial history from this area. So what we're going to do now is we're going to carry on following that branch line. Apologise for the wind, hopefully it's not too bad, but we're going to follow that eventually under the M1, and then there's loads of remains going off at that point. So ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the other side of this massive area, as you can see, a massive area of warehouses and industry, which totally swallows up any kind of track bed, doesn't it?
Yeah, Midland still survives down there, but there's a bridge there under the M1. I'm not sure what the date the M1 were built at. It may be that this could have been some sort of siding still back then. They were still using it as a spur, even though it went through route to Langton Colliery, because it had been changed by then. We'll work that out in a bit as we go along. So, you know, that could have been actually for a railway, because I can't see any reason why it would be there, look.
Yeah, why is there a bridge under the M1?
Unless it was for when they did later open casting, because all this area over there has been open casted, but maybe the trucks utilised it and were using that actually after the railway had been lifted, so it probably served a purpose until recent times.
So as we said earlier, Langton Colliery was gone by 1967. Now beyond that, you get to Kirkby Bentinck Colliery, which was much bigger. Now that lasted up until 2000, but actually, as an operating colliery, bringing all the coal out and whacking it into wagons and all that kind of stuff, that had ended even before that. Now a lot of these collieries are connected underground, like miles sometimes of shafts down into these coal seams that go for miles, connecting collieries. So actually, when Bentinck Colliery closed it wasn't really closed. They were just taking all the coal out from Annesley Colliery, which is much further down the road. So what we're going to do is sort of follow, hopefully, a bit of track bed. Although, as Phil says, we're not entirely sure in this bit because it's kind of been decimated. Right, Phil spotted plenty of water for us to get up to our ankles in. But when we get to the other side of that, then we get to the spur that came along later on. Now, a lot of that track is actually still in place, so hopefully we can find some remains of railway infrastructure and stuff there. So this could be track bed, Phil.
It could be, yeah.
Couldn't it?
It could be, yeah. You could argue this could be an old bridge in it.
This is going over the brook.
But I have a feeling it was more to do with some of this, especially this, was to do with earth movers coming under here to do the landscaping over there. Obviously, it'd be easier to come this way than what it was on the back road that goes into them earthworks around there. That'd have been awful for locals, you know. Got you.
Because a lot of the collieries in Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire, when they closed, sometimes 20, 30, 40 years after they closed, they came back and open cast. So I think in Nottinghamshire particularly, some of the coal seams are so close to the surface. In some cases, they actually even come out like outcrops of it's a big old bridge though. So we've got the M1 going over the top of us. Now that big hill that suddenly appears to the left, you've just said that's the pit tip, you think?
Well, I think it's, yeah, the proximity of it, so close to Langton, it's going to be a reshaped Langton Colliery pit tip, I presume, you know, I can't guarantee it. And obviously there might have been some stuff coming from the collieries down at Pinxton. This is the place where they
dump it, yeah. Because actually, as well as, you know, going back to these old collieries, you know, to dig out whatever bits of coal were left, they'd also go back, particularly in the aftermath of the Aberfan disaster. If you've ever heard about that, absolutely horrific, where a spoil tip from a colliery in Aberfan in the valleys of South Wales, after a series of days of heavy rain, basically collapsed and came and engulfed the village, it engulfed the school, it killed, it was horrendous. So after that, a lot of these old collieries, they actually made the spoil tips, the big heaps, they re-landscaped them to kind of try and stop that from happening in future. Okay, so we're walking along, singing a song. There's the spoil tip. There's the boys in blue having a go on the M1. Now this is the Midland Railway. Or is it, Phil?
I don't know if it's... I'm not familiar with it down as low as this here. I've never been on this path. That's one of two things. It's either your Kirkby Bridge Junction line, or it's the spare already come off the Kirkby Bentinck one. I don't know until we get up there. Looks a bit too long to be a single line colliery branch, don't it? Look,
yeah.
It's probably the main drag. I don't know.
I think that's probably the main drag, yeah, and the spur we're going to follow hasn't come off yet. But either way, even if that's an active railway, it's pretty serious, and there's a lot of strengthening gone on there, Phil. Isn't there? Let me just, like, oh mate, it's so slippery, ladies and gentlemen. So you got all this, you got this iron strengthening here. The same here, and then at the other end you got a load of wood, look. I'm trying to lean across but not fall in, because that would be a bit of a sickener. Not for you, ladies and gentlemen. It'd be flaming hilarious for you, wouldn't it, if I stacked it into the river? Although it would break my camera, so you wouldn't see the walk, but you know. Okay, mate. I'm confused now, Phil. It's not the first time. So I'm pretty sure then, this is the active line, although there's loads of stuff growing on the top of it, to be fair. They normally clear that out, although it's not used that often. And I'm also not seeing any fencing stopping us climbing up there on top of the line. Not that we would, but you would imagine there'd be some, you know, something to stop kids playing on the railway. Is that a train coming?
Where is it? That is a spare there. We've blundered. There's a Midland there, so it is a spare. So we need to go back and get up on there. I know where it's going now. Up to 37. There we
go! You don't get many trains on that line, do you?
No.
So that's a little Brucey bonus.
It's track, what do you call it? Gauging train. There'll be a class 37 at each end. Look, yeah, there is. On the back.
There you go. Okay, so this is actually the line we're meant to be on.
Yeah, I accept full responsibility.
That's all right, mate. But to be fair, if we'd gone the right way... Oh, mate, I've got a stinger in my shoe. Ow. If we'd gone the right way, we wouldn't have come under this. We'd have just walked over it, maybe not even noticed, so we wouldn't have seen the viaduct. So, do you know what I mean? Sometimes it pays to go the wrong way. So we've got on top of the track bed. So here we are, mate. So this is the way we should have come. But if we'd have come that way, you know, we wouldn't have seen the underside of that viaduct, would we? So
might have lost a couple of shoes on the way as well.
Very true, yeah. So this then is what I've been calling the Maid Marian line, which I might just be making up. There's the M1. Now tell me about this then, Phil. This changes the game, doesn't it, this spur?
This is a little short spur, although it goes all the way to Bentinck. Originally it was a short spur they put in to make it much easier to access eventually Langton and Bentinck, obviously, eventually. But it actually prevented you to have to use this, what we've been calling a tramway, that ran sort of alignments just below us. You might actually see a bit of it as it kind of, this joins the alignment, then it stole the alignment of the Langton branch, that's gone, and it bypassed Langton, and it would have had a branch going, and then it headed off to Kirkby Bentinck. So this section is realistically on a new bit they had to build,
right,
for convenience reasons, because in the past they would have had to have entered Kirkby Bentinck Colliery from the other end where we was there once, coming in off the Midland line in Greaves Wood in Kirkby.
Yeah. And
now they had access, I mean, Totem's that way, so they just basically could run straight in, wouldn't they?
Yeah.
And go straight back out and not have to do all the messing around at the other end.
So when's this gone? This would be going, what, 2000 then? Because, I mean, this track is still down, so...
Yeah, it's surprising it's still down, but I mean, you know, no one's got the labour or incentive to come and take it up these days. It just sits here, doesn't it? But yeah, it's been derelict for 20 years, I reckon. Yeah.
Yeah, got to be.
I mean, they would have been bringing supply and stock out, wouldn't they? And, you know, it wouldn't have been active colliery when they were still bringing stuff out, but it did carry on, sold it on for quite a bit after, you know, Kirkby Bentinck colliery actually closed.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad it's still here because we get to see it.
Yeah, it looks pretty neat.
Right. Okay. So let's stomp along then.
Yep.
See how far we can get. Now, these sleepers are covered in leaves and it's been raining. So there's been a couple of near slips already from Phil and myself when I wasn't filming. So my only hope is that if I do stack it or Phil stacks it, that my camera has a red light on it at that point. Otherwise it's just a waste, isn't it?
This is actually a double whammy, you know. It's slippy sleepers and bloody Triffids trying to trip you up.
It is, to be fair. But yeah, and the track just keeps going on, folks. So we're going to follow this track bed along now. As Phil's just said, we're on top of that bridge, and you wouldn't know. It just looks like an embankment, doesn't it? But yeah, we're on top of it. Now, this looks a little bit suspicious here on the left, Phil, from what you were mentioning earlier. Now, what you were saying was that you thought the original tramway, we're calling it a tramway, but it's essentially a freight railway, but sorry, goods railway. I get told off by my dad if I say freight. It's too Americanised.
Well,
but you think it could be that embankment?
Well, there's some earthworks there for something, isn't there? And this, as I said before, this was only a short section, and it kind of then got onto the earlier tramway, whatever you want to call it. It's slightly lower, but that doesn't mean you can discount it. It might, right.
Should we see then? Because if it joins up with it, then that's our tick in the box, isn't it?
I think it's just coincidental. Embankment remains. It's not been removed as all this area has been, you know, landscaped and what have you. So it could be. Who knows?
Yeah. Now Langton Colliery is long gone. It's all been open cast away, and if you look at the drone footage there, you can see that there's basically some industrial company, a trucking company, I think, are on that location now. Now Bentinck stayed later. Now that's already gone as well, but as I keep saying, we did go there before and we did find some remains, so I will put that link below, because there was some really cool stuff there that, as I understand it, isn't there anymore. Like this signal post thing that we found, which was awesome. I heard that someone nicked that, so that's not cool. Yeah, it's starting to rise, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's starting to come up.
I think there's a decent possibility that's just random earthquakes from it.
Yeah. Now, before we get to the location of what was Kirkby Bentinck Colliery, obviously we'll stop just before that, because that's all, you know, that's all industrial area now. But there are 3 bridges. One was the Midland, which would have been this line. Another was the Great Northern, and another was the Great Central. And they're basically in unison. Three railways, 3 separate railway companies. Phil just nearly fell over. All coming over the same area at the same time. It would have been an amazing, you know, sort of industrial, busy industrial area once upon a time, and now, as you can see, it's all overgrown. So we're still stomping, ladies and gentlemen, and it's still going. This is a hefty area of track bed still here, isn't it?
Yep.
All still in place. Now that, what we've been calling a tramway, is here, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I think it is. It joins up with it here.
This has gone on its track bed as from now onward. But of course it would have changed a bit, because even when this line was in, there was still a spare into the active Langton Colliery at the time. When that went, actually had Langton Colliery and this bypassed it at the bottom and carried on to Bentinck, so they were both working at the same time. But obviously when Bentinck carried on and Langton had the death, when this just carried on to Bentinck on its own, and the others were just disposed of.
Now, I mentioned 3 bridges a minute ago, and I said the Great Northern, the GN, and I was talking out of my proverbial.
Well, I was thinking, wow, this man knows what he's talking about.
That's
but from what
unlikely.
I can't see how the GN got there, to be honest. I think the middle bridge was just a siding. One bridge in the middle, and the other one was just a couple of sidings came and stopped there, and the far side one was a spare, like you said, coming out of Kirkby Bentinck.
Got you. So essentially 2 railway companies then, the Great Central Railway and the Midland Railway. Because there was 3, and there's 3 railway companies that run in this area, I just assumed. And you know what they say about assuming things. We've reached the end of the line.
That's it, we don't have to walk the rest of it now, do we?
That's it, done. Mate.
Isn't that strange? It's as if they've lifted it from the Bentinck end to this, then just stopped.
Just gone, that'll do. Come on, boys. Knocked off, pub time. We're losing the light a bit, folks. But look, there's an old gate as well.
No, it's farm crossing.
Yeah, farm crossing.
Looking that way, where's it going to exactly?
Well, it could have been going into Langton Colliery, because it's basically there, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, obviously it's been landscaped and whatever, but that could have been a way into the colliery, because believe it or not, you wouldn't know to look at it, but that was quite a hefty colliery back in the day. And when you look from the air, you can see those trucks and stuff. They're on the colliery site. So our track is long lost. It's getting dark, but we're not far from the end now, folks, where we're going to get to those 3 bridges, and that'll be the end, because as I keep saying, beyond that, we're going over old ground in the sense that we've already explored that, and you can of course watch that in a different video. But you've been saying there, Phil, like, so you've got all these collieries, and there's the Portland collieries beyond that, and they're all being accessed by multiple different railway companies.
Yeah.
And with multiple lines.
Yes, there were. I mean, there was one at Portland Collieries right outside of here. I can't remember its location. As well as the more famous Portland Collieries that are over there. And of course, going from Portland was a Portland tramway that actually used to go right down to the wharf in Jacksdale. Yeah, so you've got the Pinxton Basin where we started this walk today on the Cromford Canal. And actually it can keep going and then go off to Portland, down that, and back onto the Cromford Canal again. So everything's connected. And it just goes to show how important coal was in the mid to late 1800s. I mean, they call it black gold, don't they? Yeah. So we've opened up into a bit of a cutting, which is an oxymoron. Do you open up into a cutting? Probably the opposite of that. It's hella windy. But this would have been a culmination of lines then. I guess probably coming out of Langton Colliery to go up this way as well, into Kirkby. Another one came out of Langton and trailed in on here, but I've not seen any evidence of where it joined. It's so far gone. It just seems wide, that's all. It just seems much wider. Okay, so we've reached the end of that sort of passable track bed. Now you come up to a fence that says no trespassing, but we're not trespassing because there's a footpath that comes off it, and then you can follow that up into Kirkby, which is what we're going to do, hopefully via these 3 bridges. Right, we've got some serious fly tipping. Now this is one of the 3. Now we don't know which one it is specifically, but you've got 3 bridges. So here we go, ladies and gentlemen. So there's one which appears to have track down, but I don't think that is track, is it? No, that's just ironwork. It's track. Is that track? Yeah, it is ironwork. So yeah, that's the one we've been following. That's Bentinck Midland. That's the Midland line that we've been following. This is what I can only work out was just a spare of siding used to come over and some buffers, and the one there is the Great Central spare coming in from Kirkby Bentinck station that came all the way across here, double back on itself, came here and accessed Kirkby Bentinck from this side, as well as having its own spare on the other side as well. And the Midland also, for reasons unknown, had an entrance now, if you've been following, from that side and the other side. So it's peculiar how Kirkby Bentinck at one time or other will serve both sides by both railway companies. Yeah, it's amazing. The fact that you've got, Great Central, probably Midland,
Midland, and you could literally, you could just flip a, I don't know what you'd flip, something in between them. We've got a swastika on there. Oh mate, I see them everywhere. It's mental. And those, oh yes, see look, that's probably off of one of the bridges.
Yeah, it looks like it,
Yeah.
So,
And then from here,
well, the whole width's been completely took over by, I think it's Collieries work, that their main headquarters up there. So they obviously come down, they're doing some kind of work, I don't know.
Yeah.
So it's took out all three.
but all three lines would have gone bang off into Bentinck Colliery. Okay, so I'll quickly climb down underneath the bridges just to get a shot from underneath. Feels like it's going to start raining, so I think we've timed the end of this perfectly, because we're losing the light anyway, but perseverance. So here we go. I always think bridges look better from underneath anyway. Just looks cool, doesn't it? 3 bridges back to back.
Yeah, you'd probably think they were just 3 lines belonging to the same, same thing, wouldn't you? But obviously each bridge tells a slightly different story. And
Absolutely.
It's interesting to be able to expose exactly what each one actually did.
Yeah, it's awesome. So that's us. I don't know if you can still see us. Thank goodness we've worn bright colours. Yeah. Well, I say I have, you have. Hope you enjoyed that. I did. It's one of them that if you drive down the M1, which I do frequently, and you look down and you can, when you should be watching the road, and you see that spur going off, and I've meant to come down and have a look at it so many times, but here we are.
Yeah, I've got it done eventually, yeah.
Got it done eventually. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
See you later. See you again.